You don't just wake up one day as the person you were meant to be. You build that person, one thought, one habit, one quiet choice at a time. Most people never realize how much of their life is shaped long before the world ever sees it. The man who stands with confidence, the woman who moves with calm certainty. They weren't born that way. They were built in silence, in the long and lonely hours when it would have been easier to give up and look away. Somewhere between who you are and who you could be lies a distance that can't be crossed by luck or chance. It's crossed by small, steady steps, steps no one applauds, choices no one notices, battles no one else will ever understand. That's where character is formed. You see, people wait for big moments to change their lives, a breakthrough, a sign, a miracle. But life doesn't work like that. It whispers. It tests you in quiet ways. It asks, will you keep going when no one cares? Will you stay disciplined when there's no reward yet? Will you hold faith in what you can't see? Every day answers those questions, and the sum of those answers becomes the person you end up becoming. Look around and you'll notice, most people aren't really living. They're just moving. They wake, they work, they repeat. They rarely stop to ask, am I becoming better or just older? And so years pass, and the gap between what they could be and what they are widens until it feels impossible to close. Nothing changes until the mind does. Not your circumstances, not your luck, not your surroundings, just the way you think about them. What you dwell on shapes what you do. What you believe decides what you attempt. And little by little, the inside of you starts building the outside. That's why the smallest thought matters. It's a seed. If you keep feeding it, it grows roots, into habits, into choices, into the kind of life you live. And just like a garden, whatever you plant and water daily becomes your reality, whether it's weeds or fruit. The world has always belonged to the people who understood that. The quiet builders, the thinkers, the ones who worked on themselves long before life rewarded them for it. They knew something simple but powerful, that who you're becoming is always more important than what you have. So ask yourself today, what kind of person are you building? Are you shaping someone patient, disciplined, curious, or someone who bends at the first sign of difficulty? Because every day, with every decision, you are carving one of those people into existence. And one day, maybe years from now, the world will meet the person you've built. They'll see the patience in your eyes, the steadiness in your tone, the quiet strength in how you handle life, and they'll call it luck or talent. But you'll know better. You'll know it was the result of the mornings you pushed yourself, the nights you refused to quit, the thoughts you refused to surrender. You'll know that you built it, piece by piece, quietly, deliberately, until one day you finally became the person you were meant to be. The real reason. Most people never reach their potential. Ask the average person what they truly want, and you'll notice something. Silence. They hesitate, they guess, they repeat something they've heard others say. Few people can describe their real aim in life, and that's the starting point of failure, not knowing where you're going. A ship without a course doesn't sink right away, it drifts. And so do people. They let circumstances choose for them. The job that came first, the habit that felt easiest, the company that required the least effort. Then one day, they wake up surrounded by results they never intended. Potential isn't power unless it's directed. The mind is capable of extraordinary things, but only when it's given a target and held there long enough to create motion. Most people change their direction every few weeks and then wonder why nothing moves. And when they fail to see progress, they don't adjust their aim. They quit. They say, maybe I wasn't meant for much, and return to the comfort of the crowd. But the crowd has no destination. It just keeps itself busy, so no one has to notice how lost it really is. The people who rise above mediocrity are not the ones who start with more. They're the ones who stay with something long enough to let it grow. They understand that real growth doesn't announce itself. It comes quietly, in patience, in repetition, in the daily decision to keep steering even when the waters look the same. Most lives never bloom because people stop watering their own minds. They feed on distraction instead of direction. They want quick comfort instead of lasting character, and so their potential withers, not from lack of opportunity, but from lack of focus. You see, the greatest distance in life isn't between two cities or two people. It's between knowing and doing. Everyone knows what they could do better. Few ever do it long enough to find out how far they could have gone. And so, they settle, not because they must, but because it's easier to believe the story that life just turned out this way. But it never just turns out. It turns the way you steer it. How thoughts quietly shape your destiny. Everything begins with a single thought, not the loud ones that shout in your mind when life feels uncertain, but the quiet ones that linger when the noise fades. Those are the architects of your destiny. You see, your thoughts are builders. They work day and night, whether you give them orders or not. They take the shape of whatever you feed them, fear or faith, worry or wonder. And then, without you noticing, they start turning those ideas into habits, those habits into actions, and those actions into the story you call your life. A person who constantly imagines failure begins to prepare for it without even knowing. He lowers his voice, avoids risk, plays small. Another, who pictures success with conviction, begins to carry himself differently, not because the world changed, but because he did. The mind can't tell the difference between what's vividly imagined and what's real. It simply responds. And so, quietly, day by day, the picture you hold inside becomes the pattern you live outside. Most people let their minds drift wherever circumstance takes them, like a farmer who never chooses what to plant, yet wonders why weeds fill his field. The successful man does something different. He watches his thoughts as carefully as a craftsman watches his tools. He knows one careless stroke can ruin the whole piece. The difference between two lives, one fulfilled and one forgotten, often comes down to what each person allowed themselves to think about most of the time. So if you wish to change your life, don't begin with your surroundings. Begin with your inner speech, the way you speak to yourself when no one's listening. Replace complaint with gratitude, fear with possibility, and hesitation with quiet confidence. It doesn't happen overnight. It happens through repetition, the steady conditioning of the mind to expect good, to believe in effort, and to stay focused on what can be built rather than what has been lost. For every great change in history began in a thought, one mind daring to hold a vision others could not see, and that same power still lives in you. If you can guide your thoughts, you can guide your destiny. Why success is a reflection of who you become. Success has never really been about what you get. It's about what you grow into. The money, the title, the applause, they're only reflections of something much quieter, the kind of person you've become to earn them. You can hand two people the same opportunity, the same tools, the same instructions, and still, one will rise while the other stands still. Why? Because success doesn't respond to conditions, it responds to character. Life always gives back in proportion to who you are. If you approach your work with care, with integrity, with an honest desire to improve, the world senses it, even if it takes time. But if you chase reward without first earning it within yourself, you might get a glimpse of success, but you won't be able to hold it. A man who hasn't built patience will lose everything the moment things get hard. A woman who hasn't built faith will crumble the moment results are delayed. That's why becoming matters more than achieving, because whatever isn't built from within can't last. The strongest structures stand not because of what's above ground, but because of what's buried beneath. Roots, foundation, discipline, those are invisible, but they decide everything. So when people say, "I want success," what they really mean is, "I want to become someone capable of it," because the goal itself is only a mirror. It reflects your effort, your growth, your consistency. And once you understand that, life becomes simpler. You stop comparing, you stop rushing, you begin to work on yourself the way an artist shapes clay, patiently, layer by layer. You stop asking, "When will I have more?" and start asking, "How can I become more?" And that single shift, from chasing to becoming, changes everything, because success isn't found at the end of the road. It's built along the way, in the person you're slowly turning into. How to find purpose. through service and creation. Purpose isn't something you stumble upon in a book or a speech. It isn't hiding behind some grand event waiting to be discovered. It grows the same way everything worthwhile grows, through service, through creation, through giving more than you take. People spend years searching for meaning, hoping it will arrive with a sign or a calling. But meaning doesn't visit those who wait. It reveals itself to those who act. You find it when you use what you have to make something a little better, a job done well, a hand extended, a problem solved. Service doesn't always mean saving the world. It can be as simple as showing up fully wherever you are, being reliable, being kind, doing your work with pride. Every time you contribute to something beyond yourself, your life gains weight and direction. And creation, that's the other side of it. Whether it's building a business, writing a song, or improving your craft, creation gives shape to your inner world. It's how your imagination becomes real. It's how your ideas shake hands with life. You'll notice something interesting about the happiest, most fulfilled people. They're rarely the ones chasing recognition. They're the ones lost in the work, absorbed in what they're building. The reward isn't the result. It's the process of becoming useful, of turning your thoughts into something that serves others. The moment you shift from asking, "What can I get?" to "What can I give?" life begins to open in ways it never did before. The smallest act of creation, a kind word, a good idea, a job done with excellence, leaves a mark that echoes further than you think. Purpose isn't found at the top of a mountain. It's found in the quiet rhythm of doing something meaningful today, something that matters to someone else. When you live that way, you stop chasing fulfillment and start generating it. Because in serving and creating, you don't just find your purpose, you become it. The timeless principle that turns ordinary lives into extraordinary ones. There's a quiet principle that has never failed, not once, in all of human history. It's older than any philosophy and simpler than most people dare to believe. You become what you give your consistent attention to. Whatever you hold in your mind and act upon daily begins to take shape in your life. Every repeated thought, every small choice, every steady action, these are the builders of destiny. A person who keeps his mind fixed on progress, on learning, improving, contributing, soon finds that progress returning to him in every form. Another who dwells on fear or resentment builds walls instead of doors, and then wonders why opportunity never knocks. That's the difference between an ordinary life and an extraordinary one. Not talent, not luck, but attention. The extraordinary man isn't faster or stronger. He's simply more consistent. While others chase many things for short bursts, he chooses one direction and stays with it long enough for time to start working with him instead of against him. And time is the great multiplier. What you do once changes little. What you do every day changes everything. Most people underestimate the quiet power of steady effort. They wait for big chances, big gestures, big moments, forgetting that all greatness is built in inches, not miles. A pianist masters his craft not in a single performance, but in thousands of quiet hours. A builder raises a city one brick at a time. A writer fills shelves by facing the blank page day after day. The mountain looks impossible until you realize it's only a series of single steps, each one manageable, each one within reach. That's the timeless principle. Steady, deliberate action guided by a clear purpose. Not haste, not perfection, persistence. The kind that doesn't depend on applause or mood, the kind that keeps going when no one's watching and no one's praising. And it's this principle that has built every great artist, leader, craftsman, or thinker who's ever lived. They didn't live faster. They lived steadier. They didn't wait for motivation. They built discipline. They didn't chase inspiration. They created habits that made inspiration unnecessary. When others looked for shortcuts, they looked for rhythm. When others gave up after one failure, they began again, quietly, patiently, certain that time always rewards those who stay the course. If you understand this, not just in words but in practice, then your life can never remain the same. Because from that moment on, you stop treating time as an enemy and begin to use it as a partner. You realize that everything you want already exists in seed form, waiting for your steady hand to nurture it. That's how ordinary lives become extraordinary, not through sudden miracles, but through small, repeated acts of purpose that stack upon each other until one day the world looks up and calls it greatness. So when the days feel slow, when the progress seems invisible, remember this: nothing lasting grows overnight. Keep your attention fixed, your purpose clear, your pace steady. Because in the end, it's not the grand moments that shape your destiny. It's the small, faithful ones you choose to repeat. And every ordinary day, no matter how simple or uneventful it may seem, is the soil of something extraordinary, if only you'll keep tending it. One day, you'll look back and realize that every setback, every doubt, every lonely hour was shaping you for something you couldn't yet see. Life was never holding you back. It was preparing you. You don't become the person you were meant to be in a rush of glory. You become through small victories, through quiet persistence, through the daily act of choosing growth when comfort calls your name. Every thought you've refined, every action you've repeated, every bit of patience you've practiced, they've all been carving something in you, a stronger mind, a steadier spirit, a clearer purpose. And that's the real reward, not the trophies or applause, but the person who can now stand in any storm and remain calm, who can serve, create, and lead without needing to be seen. You were never meant to live an ordinary life. You were meant to build an extraordinary one, not by chance, but by choice. So hold your vision, guard your thoughts, keep walking, even when the road feels endless, because the person you are becoming is already waiting, just beyond the next decision, the next sunrise, the next act of courage. And when that day comes, you won't need to announce it. The world will see it in the way you live.